Hello everyone, welcome to our virtual event where we are gathered to discover SAP Enterprise Product Development, the Cloud PLM solution, as we embark on a journey to explore the future of product development. In this ever-evolving digital landscape, innovation has become the lifeblood of success for business across industries. Today, we have the privilege of delving into the realm of product innovation and our experts touching up on how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing processes. Through this event, we will delve into the fascinating world of product development, explore where ideas for innovation come from, and how you can leverage SAP's superpower of enterprise integration, and how you can get the edge in the industry by eliminating data silos and collaborating across your extended enterprise. We have an incredible lineup of speakers and experts who will share their insights. And that's not all. We also have arranged for a special preview of the upcoming roadmap for our product. You will witness firsthand how the Cloud PLM solution can streamline your product development processes, enhance collaboration, and increase efficiency.
Where do good product change ideas come from?
So, as I said, I have always wondered where do these good product change ideas come from, and where are they found, and how do product teams pursue these ideas? And of course, how do the product teams holistically process to follow through on these? So let's hear from our product owners, Ing-Marie and Atilla, on how EPD addresses these.
Let's start by exploring what a great change idea actually is. Okay, so in general, it's an idea that enhances an existing product in a way that adds significant value to the users. It should fulfill some requirements. In my point of view, the most important one is that the idea has to solve a problem in a great way for the end users. It's like the soil for this idea flower on the slide. The sentence contains 3 parts. The idea should solve a problem or improve something substantially. You know, there is this saying, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. There's actually some truth to that saying. The second part is that the problem should not only be solved, it should be solved in a great way. A minor improvement is not a very typical thing for a great idea. And the last part is from whom we do it all. It's for the end users. They should get an excellent user experience with the idea.
What you can also just imagine is that generating product change ideas based on data, based on the digital thread, what you are collecting throughout the process, how you are enhancing the data, is having so much to unleash for you. And of course, these great ideas have to be also productized. And this is where the change process comes into the picture, which we also aim with enterprise product development to support you with. So basically, you could see in the innovation management how you can collect ideas, how you evaluate them, how much more information you are able to touch from sources, from models, from feedback to these ideas to basically back up each of your decisions. And this is exactly the evaluation phase of a change process. But what happens next? So normally, when you already have a decision that, yes, I would like to go ahead with this change, maybe it's a new product introduction, a new idea, a new product, or maybe it's just a change or an enhancement, a continuous improvement to your existing product lineup. It shouldn't really matter, right? You are in the end getting information from the downstream processes or your customers and your users throughout various channels, which you want to have in a single same place so that the evaluation can go through. And also you can really start to plan how the different structures, what you are having in your ERP systems or in EPD itself can get changed if they need to. So that's exactly the planning part, which you see in the bottom. So that's when a change request gets actually checked from the technical perspective as well as from the business impact perspective, and looking into your downstream processes further. So there is a lot of collaboration going on during planning a new feature request or or a product enhancement. And this is being done in an orchestrated fashion. So you need tools which helps you to really make sure that you are following the process, which is part of your corporate standard, how you are entitled to do changes to your products. I mean, different customers require different level of documentation, how this change is going through. But in the end, you will always have a record, basically, which holds through all the items, which needs to be part of the change, part of the evaluation. The way how the decision was made is documented alongside, which you really need in order to start to do any kind of changes in your master datas. So this is exactly when the change request gets approved, because no one had any veto against the idea. So that's when we are getting serious, right? So when the change notice is being filed, then you are really looking through all the proposed changes to all your data, and you start to update them in the system. And then, of course, it has to be verified. So in the requirements management, once you clarify this requirement and you face the test against the requirement, then for sure you would like to check all of these aspects when you are going through the change. Does my change in the end really fulfill what the requirement aims? And that's the time when you're really making a validation that, okay, now my data has been changed, but the structures are still consistent. They can be produced in the plant where you would like to, and so on. Based on that, you make a decision when you actually release the change to your downstream processes. And that is also when these changes are becoming effective in your ERP systems.
Is AI on your radar?
As I said, we have a cooperation right now where we work on a pilot, an AI pilot, then together with Microsoft. And the use case is that we have been invited to a campaign. I have read the campaign details, I understand it, and I just don't really get the ideas flowing. Then I can get AI support to generate ideas and also images. I'll show you what it looks like. So this is a development system. It's not yet released, so it's not in all ways beautiful. So in this case, we have a campaign that collects ideas on new pasta sauces. So I am a submitter in the innovation homepage. I want to create an idea. And here in this form, in this idea form, you see two new buttons. We have AI inspiration here next to the text field, and we have AI inspiration here next to the image field. So let's see what now happens. I click on AI inspiration because I don't really have the ideas currently. I want to be inspired. When you click on that button, a new window opens, and to the left, you see the campaign information, and to the right, you see an AI chat window. And without me doing anything, I get some ideas already suitable for the campaign. So I get here 3 different ideas for a pasta sauce, and it doesn't look too bad. I can read them while they're being entered here. And it's not so bad, but I would like, I'm really into eggplant and basil right now. So I ask the chat bot here, the AI bot here, to give me a couple of more examples of pasta sauces with eggplant and basil. And here I could ask the chatbot or AI bot practically anything. I could ask it to create a real recipe and not only the ingredients. I can ask it to create a long reply or a short one. So there are many ways to tailor the output that comes from this engine. But now we make it very simple. Give me 2 more examples of pasta sauces with eggplant and basil. That's what I get. And now I see that the one suggestion is quite good. So I just hover over the text, and then I see this button take out. I click on that. I take out, and automatically the text is copied over to my idea form. Here I can continue to work on this text. I can add whatever I want to. So in this case, I love Parmesan cheese. So I suggest that let's serve this wonderful pasta dish with a generous portion of Parmesan cheese on top. So now we have the idea. when I submit this idea, I would like to have a really nice picture that goes along with this idea. So I click on AI inspiration next to the image, and it reads in my idea, my specific idea with the Parmesan cheese on top. And I get a couple of pictures to that. I'm not really happy yet. I would like to have a more kitchen table setting. So I want to have this pasta dish on the plate with a knife and fork next to it. And this is what I tell the AI chatbot here. So I want to have fork and a knife next to the plate. I click on execute and I get my picture. It's a really nice one. So I mark it and then I click OK. And it's automatically added to my idea. And I can now publish my idea that I created together with this AI engine.
Enterprise integration, leveraging SAP's Superpower.
What systems do we have and what is our offering and how do we integrate those? The other aspect will then be on a process view. Let's start with our offering at the moment, which we develop in the PLM area. We have basically an offering which you might know from the past and which is still there, which is our on-prem and private cloud offering, where we have a strong capability in the S4 HANA stack, which is which you can operate yourself, or SAP will operate that exclusively for you, where we have then also all the integration in the third-party tools, mainly via SAP Engineering Control Center. A second pillar which we are currently working on, which is already there, but we also have an emphasis in developing and extending it, is our SAP Enterprise Product Development. So the goal is here that we take some of the PLM capabilities out and move them on a scalable, elastic cloud platform, and then have a deep integration back into the objects which you all are quite familiar, which is also used in downstream processes like the material, the BOM documents. Now, in the PLM area in EPD, we are building, for instance, a new product structure. And why are we doing that? Well, there are some good reasons why we're doing that. And one aspect is, for instance, that we introduce a new product structure which can handle instances of objects. So assuming you have an item and a component, on many occurrences, we not only have one item quantity 4, but we have 4 individual instances, 4 individual data objects, which we can then handle differently. And I will later show you on how that could look like in the new product structure. On top, there is also things then in this area here where we can then use baselining, the new config management on top to build then on such a new product structure. Now, we wouldn't be SAP, as mentioned before, integration is also key, if we would not offer this also in a hybrid way. So you can choose which of the capability you want to keep in your own core and which one you want to use as from Enterprise Product Development, which offers a variety of new capabilities like collaboration with externals, the visualization part, config management, including the baselines, or even requirements management. So this really gives you flexibility, even for those customers who are currently on an S4 on-prem system, still which want to leverage new capabilities.
Can you demo the latest integration you have?
All right, so the first thing we did to create this demo was we import the structure from EAM in S4HANA. So there are 74 pieces of equipment under this function location, and every piece of equipment in the structure has been tagged. Every visual object or node in the model has been tagged with a unique global identifier. So in this case, if I opening this properties panel, that you see that each equipment has been tagged this technical object ID. In this case, it's the equipment ID, and all the information are coming from S/4HANA. In this case, the name, all the different attributes of this equipment, all coming from the backend. So, so let's paint this model by using SAP Asset Performance Management. That's we have built a connection with APM in this case. So we can paint by different level of risk and criticality. As you can tell in the donut chart, we have medium, low, or critical assets. So in this case, we'll just paint everything by critical assets. So by clicking all the list here, you see immediately all the asset or equipment belong to critical asset. Similarly, I can also paint this Avo mix model by different equipment object as example. I guess you get the idea. So depending on the availability of your master data, you really could paint your visualization with different models, right? For example, if you have the country of origin of manufacturer information, or even you could paint it by different failure mode or different asset strategy, as that's another example. So let's zoom into this this Avo valve or piece of equipment for a second. So if I click three dots, I open this info card. So I have pre-configured this info card to show more information. As the user, you can decide what information you want to be exposed to the business user or the daily user. So in this case, I have configured several links which would allow user to open this piece of equipment directly in S/4HANA. So you will see that I'm opening directly by selecting this piece of equipment. I don't need to copy and paste the technical object ID. In this case, it will just grab the technical object ID in the URL through Fiori intent navigation. So you can see all the existing, maintenance notification or orders related to this technical object ID. So similarly, you can also create a maintenance notification or create a maintenance order, and so on and so forth. I've also configured several sections, so which you can fetch more information coming from the backend. In this case, I can fetch different, list of maintenance notification or recommendations. It really depends what data connection you have built with your backend system. In this case, I'm fetching all the information coming from APM for this piece of equipment.
Product data collaboration without boundaries for discrete industries.
Now, there's also one more little box down at the bottom right there. There's a lot of collaboration that takes place in an organization outside of the product development process. Think about HR, think about sales, think about quality, think about, talking to our customers and warranty information. We need to be able to collaborate with people that are outside of the product development process. And we have solutions for them. They can use the same solution to collaborate in their areas as well. Of one of our customers in the automotive industry, I'd like to talk just briefly about using enterprise product development collaboration outside of the engineering process. Now, this particular customer of ours in automotive, they're using our collaboration solution for sharing invoices and clearance documentation for customs, completely outside of the product development process. And it's something to show the importance of being able to take, in a controlled manner, information out of your business systems and share with people outside of your organization. So think outside of the box when you're thinking about collaboration. It's not just in the engineering department, not just in the product development department.
Product data collaboration without boundaries for process industries.
There may be companies who is using your data, the report generation will be outsourced. You can reach out to them, collaborate with them, look at share the draft of the report, and you can approve that report. And if the report changes, that can be communicated in a timely fashion with the outsourced agency and within your company, right? So these are the major, as you can see, most of the collaboration scenarios here are similar to discrete industry, but the process changes. But again, you have a single solution providing you with the full visibility across the complete life cycle. It is completely integrated within the EPD landscape as well as outside, and it will make the product development more efficient and cost effective. Right? Now let's look at a example. So this is a global food company which is using EPD for collaboration. Again, this company is heavily depending on suppliers to get the proper documents, proper contracts in places, and the specifications. So give you an example. Where the meat comes from makes a big difference in the texture and the taste, right? What the animal livestock eats make a big difference in the texture and taste. So if this information is not passed on to the manufacturer in a timely manner, then there will be product issues. The claims may go wrong and it may not be true at times. So this company is making sure that all the information they get, all the documents they get is up to date and accurate so that they can claim or they can communicate the same information to their end user.
Real use case of a cross-functional collaboration using SAP.
Yes, thank you for the introduction. Manon and here are here today to talk a little bit about our project we are running at Agrana Fruit, and is to implement SAP PLM in the traditional EPF, so that's the Enterprise Product Formulation, our classic RD module, and the brand new Enterprise Product Development. Okay, we should really start with a brief introduction of both of our companies. So Manon, I suggest you go first.
Very good. So to add on to the technical issues of today, I believe you do not see me, at least I see a gray screen on my side. Nevertheless, here I am representing the Agrana Fruit company, which is a food company based in Austria and having a global reach. We are one of the three legs of a corporate company producing either then fruits, our division, or starch and sugar. We are a truly global company in the food industry, having around the globe 55 production sites in the group, 26 of which are in the fruit division. Therefore, in a nutshell, the global reach in itself was enough to justify going into the adventure of implementing PLM. And when Mark earlier said process can easily get chaotic, I can rely on that. And hopefully then with Matthias, where we have onboarded Grammont as our key implementation partner, we are doing that in a great manner, and we'll be able to illustrate that to you with concrete examples.
Here we go. The solution is directly tied into the collaboration, and when we open it from here, we can navigate to a separate tab called Workflow Questionnaire. Each of those options here represent a specific process that can be launched in regard to the specific collaboration type we are currently located on. And yeah, it could be really anything: new product opportunities, new product developments, material approvals, anything really. The questionnaire really asks about specific information on the process itself. As we can see, it can be anything from people that need to be involved in the process, could be plans, it can be phrased values, and also, of course, existing specifications that this new raw material will be based on. Oh, no, I accidentally restarted the video. Okay. So in the process shown, this allows product developers to let procurement know what exactly they are looking for. So we are compiling a list of requirements, more or less. Ultimately, we then collect everything in one place in the collaboration, which provides an extensive overview of the project a user is working on. At the time the specification is then created or put into the collaboration, we make sure that all the required identifiers are in place, all inheritances are established, and also the specification, of course, is added as a reference object. So there was actually briefly in the video, the object was added inside the reference object list here, and by simply clicking on it, we can navigate to the display specification view in EPF. So this is the actual bridge from EPD to EPF. Yeah, as everything is nicely tied together, these measures really reduce the number of orphan specifications to close to zero. Everything is in one place. We have the reference objects, we have the work items that were briefly seen. And for transparency's sake, whenever we record requirements, we put that into an automated comment here. So it's here for everybody to read, and as a permanent note that what was originally requested and how perhaps over the course of the project, the requirements got refined and changed. Yeah, so depending on the different choices the user has made prior to that, so what plans are involved, what kind of product are we looking for, different process variants are picked and the appropriate people are involved. So there is actually very little room for error. Everything is based on the context of what the requester is actually looking for. And as the name collaboration really implies, it is meant to be used by several users simultaneously, and having a good overview of what stage a process is in and which data has been maintained is of course very vital to that. Overall, we think that the collaboration and the workflow engine below that are great tools to support exactly that. Looking at the roadmap for EPD and especially the collaborations, we believe that there will be more features directly tying into that in the very near future. So I'm very much looking forward to implement that. Finally, we have some real life examples of how things, sorry, that was too fast once again. Okay. Some real life examples of what a workflow would then actually look like. So all of these are automatically generated. All people, etc., are assigned automatically. Correct deadlines are attached, etc. So everything is basically automatic, but can be appended as needed. The same goes for the reference object. Of course, we don't need to stop at one object to be added. We could add several, for example, a common raw material, which is basically telling us, okay, this is roughly what we need, a black cherry. Then a producer raw material that tells us, okay, these are the properties of a certain producer's black cherry. And below that, there is the source approval. So whether a certain raw material can actually be used at a given location.
Happy to testify that indeed, when also Mark and Manon were saying it's not limited to product development, how EPD and the collaborations can benefit. This is particularly true in our organization. So the diagram you now see on the screen, if I may walk you through from the left-hand side to the right, we start in our industry with the market insights. We look at consumers and trends, and we define then a need for a product. This may come proactively on our side and go through our innovation pipeline, or it may come from our customers that are already well established with us, and there it goes into the product development process. You see my name up there. This is because I'm in a business life responsible globally for new product development at Aquana Fruit. This then seemed logical that I'm responsible for the implementation of the whole tool, but then I have very much interfaces with my colleagues of innovation and then below it sourcing in order to make product development happen. this is those 3 key processes that we have decided to integrate fully within the EPD landscape, and that really becomes our backbone in the company to conduct processes. We would then take care of handing out to both the sales stream of things when we have a product and we need to make an order and get ultimately money from our customers, as well as work through sales and operations planning. And this is also taken care of via the interfaces that Matthias was referring to. So altogether, we're very happy today that the world start to come into the very famous single source of truth for us. And one of the key driver was also to reach full traceability of work, and via the work items. This is very beneficial. We have achieved that. You could see it on the workflow on the video from Matthias. And this allowed to bring context to business decisions. So there is right away also monetization of that investment we're doing in the tool. And then another key element is definitely the human error / also chasing after multiple data entry of the same stuff. This is very irritating, and this is costing also a lot of money. So with the workflow questionnaire and inputting data from EPD, we are monitoring that. We have also made sure that we have a completeness check of data for certain steps in the process. So the system for us tells us, hey, you have forgot to input data A. Please go back and do it. Therefore, when I'm running now process performance indicators, I nearly see 100% across everything. And this is a first in our division, when we were before struggling with chasing after users, and everybody would, I guess, agree they have once babysitted 1 or 2 users to feed up data. Now the machine is doing it for us, so my time is very much valuable for other things.
SAP Enterprise Product Development Strategic Roadmap.
When we, for example, talk about our production routings, right? This is going to be one of the topics, but also areas like creating a manufacturing genealogy based on the manufacturing reference structure we create with the EPD will be very instrumental, kind of to talk an end-to-end scenario where basically the product developers meet the industrial engineering teams of our customers, right? And that integration between both worlds is going to be very instrumental. And if you even look a little bit more further downstream, the service side of the house, right, with our visualization capability, will play an even bigger role, because we are doubling down on integrations, for example, with SAP Asset Performance Management, so that we can leverage the EPD visualization stack in the respective applications to help maintenance engineers to have a visual management approach into their respective business processes. And like I said earlier, right, our ambition from an AI perspective is to infuse AI and kind of create an innovative library of prompts for the end users to interact with the SAP PLM with the EPD system. Here are just a few ideas, right, we're currently playing around across this end-to-end process. Ing-Marie talked about the innovation management side of the house, but like I also introduced earlier, we are investigating on how to embed these language models in requirements management processes, but also in the area of detailed product development, right? We see a big potential to collaborate, basically talk with the system, and for example, say, please, based on the ideas submitted, please generate 3 draft recipes for me based on the requirement specification, where the success rate is higher than 70% based on the ERP data we have, right? And we will also see use cases like this not only in process industries, but also in industries which are more discrete minded, right? And here, for example, it could be in the handover process, right? So when you do a tech transfer from from engineering, from formulation to manufacturing, right? Because this is often also what we observe, a task which is repeating, right? The patterns are often same. So why don't we invest in building AI models to assist the production engineer to create the routings and to create the N-bomb in a more automated fashion? And that's where we also will look into. So bottom line for this, AI is here to stay. Okay, and we are doubling down on that because it will help us to make basically that next evolution in product lifecycle management. Okay, so in summary, right, EPD helps you to define, develop, and deliver innovative and sustainable products. And we are basically increasing the number of capabilities we basically provide. And these capabilities can be used in a context where you're new to SAP PLM, but it can be also leveraged in the context of the hybrid scenarios Gerhard was introducing earlier today. And these hybrid scenarios are instrumental for us to take our installed base to a cloud journey, right? Because the future in PLM is also in the cloud. With that, yeah, thank you very much.